You know, you know what would help more than this new microphone is if I had somebody here that could do that whole 4, 3, 2, go, thing, because I just missed it by a little bit, but I have a lot. And I'm surprised because I was going to not work this evening on the ministry, but faking this paper for my water studies form and function class was so easy. And the Lord had put so much on my mind for tomorrow morning, Lord willing, with RJ, that, about the digging down in Chicago, the tunnels, and I had them all right there. I thought, I may as well go with this because if anything, I do believe the Lord is leading me and lifting veils, and we're learning. And Joaquin once again came by and motivated me, come on, man, come on. I know you're tired. Let's go outside and kick the football. We went outside. It's like way too windy to kick the football. How about I just do the paper and quit crying about it? And so it was easy. Oh, man. What's not easy is keeping track of this thing, the fair use disclaimer, and it's so small. Now it's big. This isn't the same one, but they all work the same as long as it's that 1976 reset thing. That was like the start of my last year of high school. I was we got, don't go away. Don't get bored. This is going to be good. I just got a little bit sidetracked with wondering where in the world I am doing this. I showed that. That can't be the only picture I got. There's the disclaimer. Showed the magnetic north thing earlier today. Did it the wrong way. But that can't be. Okay, so this was going to be, look at this is water studies on how when they reversed the river, first it was unsanitary, then they did all of these different things to fix it because it's a rewrite. They're rewriting history. And they need these stories, but they did find an old empire. They did find an existing infrastructure. This is the shape of a sheep liver. Of course, the way you're looking at it, it's much bigger, unless you're using a cell phone. But this is amazing thing that what they were into, what they were capable of. There's the last picture, one of the previous civilization. Now you able to see? Well, we are able to see that they found this. And in our world, with Satan being loosed, we'll look at this because this is from this afternoon. It's going to be right on time with all of the amazing information and things that man, if I forget to show the thing, I got to do it because remember, I used to forget to show the thing and they're serious. They kept giving me those strikes and giving me those strikes, and they add up. Hey, look at this. I was watching, I had some free time. 1959 communist. Somebody made a movie about, maybe they're not going to be that bad. There's a train trip. They're going to Peking. I was watching. I don't know why. I think I know why now because I noticed something. Wow, doesn't that look like a mudflood house found in Kansas City? Of course, in the United States, we say we found it or jacked it up in the 1800s when they didn't know how to go potty without throwing it into the street. Anybody? It's China, and first they were here. Wow, China was a star fort baby in 1959. I thought they all lived in mud huts until Mao Zedong made it even worse for them. But electric trains, China, China. I'm just kidding. I'm not for China. I'm not for Russia. USA, USA. They're not talking about the commies. I mean, the free Chinese, or I guess they're Taiwan is still part of China. Hong Kong. Look at that. Is that an obelisk? They got some talent. Go, girl. Ôi, trời ơi, ta xem. I, hey, look, that were they beginning? This is the modern age of swimming. They didn't even they kept their head out of the water when they swim. They take a breathe out of the side, and when you swim nowadays, you're taught how to be efficient. In the Olympics, they didn't even do that. Johnny Westmiller, Tarzan, watch his winning performance. He's swimming like a kid with his head out of the water. China. Man, that's just like the 1933. Somehow, who paid for this? You know what? I was gonna might go over those later. I want to go over secret treaties. Secret treaties. Because we're gonna how about that? The videos are gonna be good tonight because it's all mud flood all the time. But let's muscle through some of these prerequisites before we realize we get in deep of well, you can read the title. My message to these mud flooders that are saying peace, peace when propping up the status quo when we don't know what they got going in the background. Now, why doesn't this go full string? We want the full screen. Okay. Adriatic coast, Zara, Istra, settled after the war. Serbs not to be informed of the agreements, secret treaties. People are doing, mafias do secret treaties. Can you get smaller there? What is the London Treaty? Signed in secret, April 26th. That's an anniversary coming up. 1915, between the Triple Entente and the Kingdom of Italy. The treaty was designed to turn the Italians against their former allies. The treaty stated that Italy was to declare war on Austria Hungary and Germany within a month. Wow, you guys. So they got the Alpine Divide, the Northern Dalmatia, like the dog. So they are going to divide it up. Settled after the war. Land given to them. Serbia did not attend. Montenegro did not attend. The treaty was kept secret well into the war. It only became known after the October Revolution in Russia. That's 1917, 19, I think 1917. After the war ended, the treaty was overruled by the Treaty of Versailles. That's the Armistice of Versailles. Wilson's 14 points included several clauses to nullify the Treaty of London because the world was going like, we want the truth, the whole truth. Because if somebody, exposes a lie to you, that is not the same thing as telling you the truth. They could give you a false idea and just tell you, lead you to believe maybe it's UFOs. That's in the news, and it is. Now, the agreement that is seen by many as a turning point in the relations was that treaty when it was exposed by the Russians. And it included the Sykes-Picot Agreement. We all heard about that. Arabs saw it as a failure to keep a British promise, no kidding, regarding a national Arab homeland. And isn't that the one thing? I guess there is a documented genocide going on right now of people who are going like, where's our homeland? Haven't we been moved long enough? I am so mad at being moved. And they said, well, how about being dead instead? You're so mad, we'll be dead. So the Bolsheviks, these guys, they're all honkies too. November 23, that's, depending on your clock, that's when they were assassinating in 1963, fake assassinating, I think, JFK. So they released the information. And then a couple of days later, Manchester Guardian from England, a big newspaper there, releases the info. Oh no, we are embarrassed. Arabs are going like, we're moving again, and the Turks were going like, take that, you losers. I want, they drug this out. Remember, this was an armistice. All of these agreements, Sykes-Picot, secret treaty between United Kingdom and France with assent from Russia and Italy to define their mutually agreed spheres of influence and control everything in an eventual partition of the Ottoman Empire. So this must have been this something to start World War I because it's everybody against Germany helping Serbia, Sykes-Picot. I wonder where the Rothschilds and those guys, enter the equation. The agreement effectively divided the Ottoman provinces outside the Arabian Peninsula. Let's see what they got here. So you're basically dealing with people that are right. Eastern Turkey, Asia. So this is the Bible. This is where those cities are. Not here, but they were up here. Yeah, those Mormons, not the Mormons, the Muslims, they got a hard time with that too. So these guys did it, writing secret treaties. How long until they're forced to show somebody with, his hands stuffed in his vest? Who won't screenshot that or look it up? But they're all lying. Oh, let's see. There's Lord Kitchener, Balfour. What sort of an arrangement would you like to have with the French? What would you say to them? I should like to retain for ourselves such country south of Hafia as was not in Jerusalem enclave, which I gather the French themselves admit. I think it is most important that we should have a belt of English controlled country between Sharif of Mecca, and the French. Well, one thing that we know, Sharifs don't like it, and Sharif don't like it either. So they're going to rock the Casbah. You get it. I don't know. This is a Rockefeller thing. I got that feeling, man. Show me the Rockefeller proof. What? Thanks for the fuzzy nothing. More fuzzy nothings. I don't know. It's looking slim on the pictures of a man with the hand stuck in his waist saying, the Freemasons told me to do it or they kill me. Secret treaties contain state parties that have agreed to conceal the treaty's existence from the public. You do not have the right to know. Such a commitment to keep the agreement secret may be contained in the instrument itself or a separate agreement of another treaty. Wow. So this was contained 9 public articles and 11 secret ones. And when they got done, everybody in the public said, now I know how to vote. Now I'm ready to go. They wouldn't keep a secret from me. He wouldn't. There's a big mystery about who was his wife, was she a Freemason woman in the first woman president? Oh, the first woman president? Excuse me, I could barely choke it out. Okay, Panama Canal treaties. Who knows what's going on behind their elaborate mafia type allegiance systems, each secured by a network of secret treaties and death vows. And it's been that way since this Freemason Rosicrucian secret death vow situation has come into existence. They don't want you to know. There's a dark side of these secret treaties. I didn't know it. So I got sucked into believing it. I thought I highlighted a picture. That's for my water studies. How tunnels are built. Many thousands of dollars have been expended on the private connections that give warehouses, stores, and railroad terminals tunnel facilities. In many cases, the tunnel connection was part of the original plan. So we're going to look at that from my lunchbox, my lunch break, that they're supposedly saying the ones that were built with sub basements, they were planned that way and had the tunnels pre-built. Sounds preposterous, doesn't it? So I had more. Anyway, it was the dumbest quote I ever saw. So here's another thing I clicked off from my lunch break. September 1st, 2000. Everything changed after this great Chicago flood where it turned out, oh, hey, look, there's tunnels under Chicago. now in the wake of post 9/11 security, which started the last 45 years, everybody knows about the old tunnel system, but you can't go check it out. All its infrastructure, because of terrorism, is now closed off from public safety. There was that one, that one, that one, that one. Oh, is this from that secret agreement paper? I stopped reading it. I'm there like, I'm not even going to skim it anymore. When it came to a little bit of good information and a catchy title, that I found myself reading, the proof follows closely the above proof of H1. We present it less formally. So they're talking about the public challenge only occurs. So when you're dropping into algorithms of math and it's, you know, greater than zero. Well, there you go. And then there's some disparity. They're into the baloney. So that's the last thing I wanted to show you on that is that's crazy. So this abstract, basically after the first two sentences, everything else is a joke. We explored the motivations of leaders to resolve international crises through the use of secret agreements. In particular, we examine agreements that can have both public and secret outcomes. The formal bargaining model illustrates that leaders who value public outcomes, such as democratically elected officials, face incentives to secure a public victory at the cost of private concessions to the adversary. You know, you can't be embarrassed when you're in mafia world. Let's see this source. Soviet diplomacy is a necessary weapon in the hands of the pro, pro perpetuated minority, perpetuated minority, which is compelled to deceive the majority in order to make the latter serve its interests. So we have a perpetuated, might have been a better way for me to grasp that. Necessarily being a weapon used against them to compel them. Okay, and huh, the majority of the people, the 1%, it does seem Russian or capitalist, there's going to be a 1% with the bourgeois politicians and newspapers of Germany, Austria, Hungary will no doubt seize upon the published documents that said, hey, they were ganging up on us when they started World War One. When you see bourgeois, it's the city dwellers, the city dweller politicians and newspapers. They I don't know, they wanted nations, not kingdoms. Something going on. So here we have closing that out. Now you're up to date. There's secret treaties, hidden histories. The Bible is open. You have a Bible verse you want to look at, do it. So the whole China thing, the long marches. Their children are my kids' age, and they're coming after you. They've been trained to hate you. I was born the year before this was made. I wasn't taught China was anything like this, but a bunch of hut living, scoop the rice out of the bowl, even if you're the king, living some hidden history, but it wasn't like this. There were 48 states where I was born. Everything's been changed. They wanted to bring on more and more technology so that people could be closer together around the world, they would say. But it didn't work out like that. You can be reliant upon technology, and then they can shut you down, and you have their technology or know how to interact with people. Go. Are they any good? Chinese people proving they could act white to the world. But you know that's not their specialty. Where is that one part 3? I guess I'll have to do it this way. Because this is when they really gonna show you the singing and the dancing. Well, part 3. Show 'em the singing and dancing un momento. Is this the singing and dancing one, or I showed that fair use, I should get a couple of minutes. 'Cause this bicycling is just the beginning. Spin plates much? Know how to do the bend over? Wait till you see this. Ta-da. Talented people. Different styles of music. You can't just say they're no good, they're not the ones. Now, really, this race to reverse the river, after 32 minutes of nonsense, they decided to really pile it on. So I saved and thought we could start here, get you up to speed on this so-called before they started, they needed to jack it up and do all that other stuff. You're the most amazing group of men in history, saved because I'm gonna say it right now, I don't think this country, in their eyes, would have been great without Chicago, and the guys that you're about to learn about who reversed the river. Ooh, that's cold. Are you with me? Are you at this point where this is how desperate AI has to be when they're rewriting history and saying, here, we can tie in the infrastructure if we're doing this and that because it's a reset. You're with me, right? Yeah, we can do it. Ooh. Oh, man. Yeah, well, you know what their remedy was? Try harder. On the frozen water, because, these 4 guys were gonna do it on their own, but then they got tipped off and the press showed up. But using that one excavator did? Oh, look at the drama. This is the rewrite of history. Don't worry, we're just here to help. So for 2 hours and oh, well, let's just get a picture. We don't have that picture. Where did the dredge come from? Because there were these 4 guys, and then there were the newspaper men, and then somebody had a dredging machine. I know this isn't from 1919, but still, their story in the AI has holes in it. So that's a picture, maybe? Well, damn is the good word for it. Oh, man. Look at here. Look at that. Because there's infrastructure that they need to explain away, and the people not on the narrow road, this will be good enough for them. Let's start with this girl here. She's a staple in Illinois history. The science wasn't in place to understand that, but they knew it. So whatever, this guy just did a miracle, miracle. Wasn't enough though. There you go. Hey, that's a star for it, baby. Look what we found. Let's clean it out. Yeah, it all makes sense now. There you go. Why not? What year? 18? Yeah. Okay. So this is how you rewrite history. These piers were here. The metal you can trace. Did they use wrenches, bolts? Or did they rivet it? We know they didn't weld at that time. So here's the lunchbox crew. Huh. How did they get here from this? Woo. Yep. I showed them. Everybody showed them. There it is. Like every other photo of every other town. Huh. Sometimes let me just do it this way. I can change my screen. I have, virtual background for times like this. I should set it up. There we go. Does that make more sense to you now? This is the Maginot Line. That's a tricky one. The Maginot. It's not how you would think it. Maginot. Something like that. Are you going to show me on the inside? So they had these guns on the inside. That's the outside. We'll look at some of the inside ones. They'll show you what's peeking up out of the mountain. You saw my screen behind me. Oh, that looked a little more familiar. There you go. You still got the rail lines. There you go. Same thing. They just plaster over it, use the same tunnels. That's a good one. Even how they, 1,000 miles under Chicago. This is only one portion of the Maginot Line. Let's go back to that one Wikipedia page. We'll get an idea because it's a line of fortifications. How many? Good question. Well, here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Here's another one. Here's one up here. Here's some over here. Because they got mountains that are hollowed out. They might as well claim that they did it. And here's some that are in a line on a border. So we'll say, like these back here, you belong up here, but these over here, and these on the island with completely underground city mountains. You get it. I know you get it. They're in every mountain probably also. Tell me about the flood thing, man. That was interesting. I lived through this. I lived in the suburbs in comfortable life when this happened in 1992. Are we going to talk about the 1992 thing? We'll go with this. Oh, oh, planning ahead. Oh, go lunchbox. 1,000. That's a lot more than the 16 they started with. Here's the town. There it is. There they are. This was interesting. The Great Chicago Flood. Were they older buildings? Oh man, to go back to the title of my, the status quo of knowing this is not enough. Oop, I'm gonna back that up. Hey, close attention, por favor. Elevators, elevators. What? Tunnels built in with elevators. That's some pre-planning. No, it's a rewrite, and Jesus is the God of the universe. So I think this is some good work, but we have to put it in the context of what we know and the veil that has been lifted. Let him know. I thank him for this video. Thanks. Oh. Huh. I guess they cared. I'm hot. Well, let's pump it up. The Bible tells about rebuilding, setting up great stands of stones, and they're pointing to Turkish, and that's Bible stuff. And somebody had to live through this, and now we're it would seem living in a period where it's not going to be good. They're acting like the same thing. General Zebulon Montgomery Pike, who made him a general. Jefferson, he sent Lewis and Clark this way. He sent this guy come back down here, and then he got betrayed by somebody in charge. I went over that this morning. The whole Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, they were planning another country. This is the President Jefferson's friend and guy in charge. Let's get these guys. Let's equip them and send them out. And then he ends up dead. Of course, he did. Why did he have to try to climb Pikes Peak in the winter? Same reason Fremont had to go out in the middle of the winter. They were, I think, doing astrological tests to confirm things. And then Zebulon Pike mysteriously killed. And that's his legend today. They died like brave men because their thing didn't work. Remember, I showed you this one, 1959, Dancing Like the Americans, but that's not what I wanted to show you. Do you think there's tunnels underneath it? Do you? I know you do. They, that's established. Where are they? Look at this. And the mud flood much? So the Bible talks that the end is going to come like a flood. There are all of these, signs that, the mud flood was Armageddon. I think we should pay attention. And it was here, the United States, probably Egypt, Peru, the Inca. I would be fairly critical of it too. Let's see what else we got here now. Look, oh no, what? Yeah, let's go kill him. Wow. I don't know what was that about? Let me take this time here. This is going to be kind of a short show. I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. But before I show you this disastrous, I had something. Do I still not have any audio? Nobody. Oh, okay. Now you should be able to hear me. This is a brand new microphone. And so it's touchy. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that red dot. So let's see if I can't set up that video. Thank you, Salty. And make it play. Because this is what I think the United States is set up for ultimate ruin. Bear with me now. I want to make sure. So I'm going to go to my settings. You should be able to hear it. So if not, maybe I'll put on the closed caption. Can you hear it? And think about it. If I'm correct, and if I'm correct, and the Pacific Palisade fire was because that was designated for use on they they needed to house the athletes, to build the infrastructure, to have the games. price is no object for them, and your safety is no concern for them. To them, this is going to go down. It went down in Greece. The United States has 2 years. They haven't even started, and we're broke, I guess. Ooh, the attempt to impress. I hear that. Now here's one of the venues. So there's that. Let's see if we can get Salty. What's up with the audio? Is it working now on the video and myself?
Well, everything was working except for the audio for the video. That hasn't been working since you were showing my lunch break.
Really?
Yeah, well, he has a big red arrow and captions, so that we were kind of following. Anyone can follow, I guess you can, but
I just checked my settings, so I don't know why it wasn't playing. I'm gonna have to.
what helps me is I just close the windows and stop sharing and reshare. That's what I do. I don't close the windows. I stop sharing and reshare. 'Cause it's always doing that to me. Just wanted to give you that tip.
Right. Well, did you hear the one about that I'm showing now, or is that not audible?
Even the one now, it was doing the same thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can read it. The man. So
Well, you're a good narrator, so
Greece is going down. This is what's left when they were going to have the Olympics, and some of it's found, some of it's built, but you're not going to impress the world. The United States burning down Pacific Palisades. Is this what is in store for the United States? Can we pay our bills? You know, the video you sent me, Salty, with about Colorado and the LGBTQ that are in charge of the parties that are, you could just put it out there
oh
and,
yeah,
pass anything.
trying to scare people,
There is
honestly, I think.
nothing that is going to change the fact that I don't see any scriptures that says, you know, the saints aren't going to be encompassed about. It's not going to, even though we know Mudflood was Armageddon, it's going to get worse and worse as Satan is loosed until a group of blessed people are rescued by a fire from heaven.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can see.
So I did start off talking about how I got my homework finished, the water process, it's nice to be caught up with my schoolwork. It's, a little bit
Oh
ahead
yeah,
of schedule. And it was nice to, have somebody come by just to check on me today, and,
it's always nice.
see if I need something. And I want people to know that you should be choosing life, planning your future, because all of these things happen slow. If they say there's going to
Hmm.
be zombies, there's going to be zombies. Now, if I said it was because of a pandemic in a book I wrote in 2008, that doesn't mean anything. It simply means that that's in our psyche. They planned shutdown, the next
Yeah.
shutdown. It's planned. Who's the largest owner of farmland in the United States, don't you?
I heard it's BlackRock, Bill Gates,
Yep. Do you know who the second largest owner is?
Apple.
No, the government of China.
Oh, it's not good.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
It's not
Couldn't
good.
believe it.
Oh no. Well,
It's-
Apple is quote unquote king in the economic Fortune 500. They're the top. Yeah.
Wow. I heard their new phone is going to be over $2,000.
It's
Have you
getting
heard that?
there. I remember when they first got to 1,000. Now it's 2,000. Wow.
We're going to wrap this up here with at least this section before I go to a short Bible study. You're looking at a brand new conspiracy computer generated thing. It started 2 weeks ago.
You're supposed to be sharing.
Yep. It would have been so much better. It would have been better if I would have been sharing. But in the meantime, Sticky Lens started his channel 2 weeks ago. This is a computer. It's not you, Salty. You've been going a little while here now. This guy, he's got it all. Let's just get a little background here on him. 17 subscribers, 34 videos. So he's just cranking it out. $1 billion disaster. 24 Olympics bankrupted the entire country. That was his first video. That's the one I'm there like, what's this computer yapping about?
It's another AI account, I guess you found.
It is a total AI account. They laughed at him, the unbelievable. So a computer, how does that go? The computer AI, they turn it loose and it says, my job is to expose conspiracies, but not tell them the whole truth.
It's yeah, whatever tickles the ear. And there's many categories for ear tickling.
This is how the computer sounds.
There's no sound.
Can you hear it?
No, we can't hear it. Looks interesting. So you can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it when I play it on this.
Okay, yeah. No, I can't hear it. I thought if I'd hop on StreamYard, I'd hear it too. But no. What's
Can
it
you hear
about?
that?
No.
No. Yeah, so it's all computer generated where, you know, people will become addicted to this type of art too.
Art? That type of art?
Well, that AI generated art. So he did
I see it now already.
right. So look,
I don't like it.
today,
It's
well,
like
this was one
cartoons.
day ago. Today he's done 3 videos, that'll all be computer generated. And I can
Wow.
only tell you he's got a very, a typical but better than and improving AI voice.
Hmm. Yeah, online is just getting worse.
Not a real thing about this. He's been turned loose on the YouTube public, man. You know, basically, here you go, AI. I'm not gonna subscribe, but 2 people gave it thumbs up?
Honestly, the AI thumbnails don't even
I think it's fake.
intrigue me. They don't intrigue me. Yeah.
Here's my algorithm. Again, somebody that is very popular in the neoconservative world, and he's gonna tell you everything you need to know, and the answer to it is UFOs. Uh, more law stuff. I'll probably watch that movie, see what type of like propaganda they were doing in whatever year that women's baseball league was being propped up. That seems like it was a real thing, you know?
Yeah.
Weird, right? $5 million odyssey. I wish that I could have heard those because I was pretty excited about that. Let's see. I think I am going to wrap it up with let's go to then we'll maybe you can just if you want to give me some ideas, we'll look at chapter 32 and hear what they were taught. Because in 31, Moses said, "Hey, sing this song until you finish it. You're going to learn it. This is it. Learn it. Give ear, O heavens, and I will speak, and let the earth hear the words of my mouth. May my teachings drop as rain, my speech distill as the dew, like gentle rain upon the tender grass, and like showers upon the herb. I will proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our God, the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are justice. A God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and upright is he. They have dealt corruptly with him. They are no longer his children. Whoa. It's that blemished thing because they are blemished. They are a crooked and twisted generation on a very twisted and crooked road. Continuing verse 6. Do you thus repay the Lord, you foolish and senseless people? Is not he your father who created you, who made you and established you? Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask your fathers, and he will show you, your elders, and they will tell you. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided mankind, he fixed the borders of the peoples, plural, according to the number of the sons of God. They could say whatever they want. We know, was this the sons of Bene Israel? Yeah. He divided their inheritance, the Most High. That's not used, you know. God's angels. You know what that seems funny, doesn't it? Let's look at 33:20. There he erected an altar and called it El Elohe Israel, God, the great God of Israel, huh. How about that? So at this portion here, Padan Aram, when you leave that on his way from there, and I never heard a bad thing about that town. He camped before he got there. and he bought for 100 pieces of the money, probably silver or something, piece of land on which he had, decided to camp, and there he erected an altar. Huh. What was going on here? Oh, this is when another one of the times when God rescued his favorite, Jacob. Even though he was so small, he was a fighter. He was a tenacious. He was, he worked with what he had. Powerful situation right there. I didn't mean to get hung up on verse 8. But the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob, his allotted heritage. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, covenant keepers. David, covenant keeper. Moses, good to go. Noah, yay. He found him in a desert land in the howling waste of the wilderness. He encircled him. He cared for him. He kept him also as the apple of his eye, like an eagle that stirs up its nest, that flutters over its young, spreading out its wing, catching them, bearing them on his pinions. That's an interesting word study if anybody ever wants to get into that. Verse 12, the Lord alone guided him. No foreign Elohim was with him. He made him ride on the high places of the land, and he ate the produce of the field. They probably didn't use glyphosate. And he suckled him with honey out of the rock, oil out of the flinty rock, curds from the herd, and milk from the flock, with fat from lambs, rams from Bashan. And besides Og living there, you never hear one bad thing about the land of Bashan. All their food is good, their rams are good, their mountains are the many peak mountains of God at Bashan, very finest of the wheat. You drank foaming wine from the blood of the grapes. Do you think that means champagne? I don't know. They grew fat, grew fat. People going to do that. Then he forsook God who made him and scoffed at the rock of his salvation. They stirred him to jealousy with strange God, with abominations. They provoked him to anger. They sacrificed to demons that were no gods, to gods they had never known, to new gods that had come recently, whom your fathers had never dreaded. You were unmindful of the rock that bore you, and you forgot the God who gave you birth. The Lord saw it and spurned them because of the provocations of his sons and his daughters. And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end will be, for they are a perverse generation, children in whom is zero faithfulness. They have made me jealous with what is no God. They have provoked me to anger with their idols. So I will make them jealous with those who are no people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation. For a fire is kindled in my anger, and it burns to the depths of Sheol, devours the earth and what it grows, and sets on fire the foundations of the mountains. He's going to heap. He did heap disasters upon them. He sent his many arrows. He says, I will send my many arrows on them. This is Moses talking. They will be wasted for hunger. The three things, sword, pestilence, and famine, they shall be wasted with hunger, devoured by plague and poisonous pestilence. Well, there they are. I will send the teeth of beasts against them with the venom of things that crawl in us. We're the dust, maybe pestilence. Outdoors, the sword shall be reaped, and indoor terror for young man and woman alike, the nursing child with the man of gray hairs. I would have said, I will cut them to pieces. I will wipe them from human memory. Had I not feared provocation by the enemy, lest their adversaries should misunderstand, lest they should say, our hand is triumphant. It was not the Lord who did all this. For they are a nation void of counsel, and there is no understanding in them. If they were wise, they would understand this. They would discern their latter end. How could one have chased 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight unless their rock had sold them? They have not been purchased with a price. The opposite of it, it continues. And the Lord had given them up. For their rock is not our rock, because their father is not our father. Our enemies are by themselves, for their vine comes from the vine of Sodom and from the field of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of poison, their clusters are bitter. Their wine is the poison of serpents and the cruel venom of asps. Is not this laid up in store with me, sealed up in my treasuries? Vengeance is mine, and recompense for the time when their foot shall slip. For the day of their calamity is at hand, and their doom comes swiftly. For the Lord will vindicate his people, and his people are from every nation, tongue, and tribe, and have compassion on his servants when he sees that their power is gone and there is none remaining, bond or free. Then he will say, where are their gods, the rock in which they took refuge, who ate the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you. Let them be your protection. The ones from Atlantis, maybe he's implying, let those guys that were so smart, that you worship, rise up and help you. No, I'm going to continue in verse 39. Now see that even I am he, and there is no God beside me. I kill, I make alive, I wound, and I heal. And there is none that can deliver out of my hand. For I lift up my hand to heaven and swear, as I live forever, if I sharp my glittering sword, my flashing sword, and my hand takes hold on judgment. And we see the scars of that. We see now the endoric basements, the endoric basins, where every river doesn't flow to the sea anymore. The Bible's been changed because these prophecies have been fulfilled. He said, I will take vengeance on my adversaries and will repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh with the blood of the slain and the captives from the long-haired heads of the enemies. I'm just saying. I'm not even going to say it. Rejoice with him, O heavens. Bow down to him, all gods. For he avenges the blood of his children and takes vengeance on his adversaries. He repays those who hate him and cleanses his people's land. That's a song. Do you think that's going to be in the top 40, Salty? I don't know. That doesn't have that catchy hook that people like.
No, they don't like hearing about the blood.
Where's the he loves me, yeah. So that's just crazy. The glittering sword. Do you know that's the Barack? It's almost like the Barack Obama. It's that enunciation. That is what they like. Barack. Is that how Barack spells his name? If I sharpen my flashing sword and the radiance of your gleaming spear, it's Barack. There's another Barack with two. Oh, there's another Barack with two. What's up with this Barack I am with four? That's a pretty strong root word. Look, another Barack at the bottom that's out of order alphabetically, but let's drop it in. So there's really 8 that say Barack, and it's lightning. And that's what can change the flesh. It's a flashing sword. And when he did, I think, bury the ones who deserved it most, there were sand dunes. There were endoric basins. The rivers didn't flow to the sea anymore. So it says in a portion of scripture that with his glittering sword, while he was riding on his chariots with the hooves, the horses had pestilence, that he carved canals so that the rivers would continue. And, one of those would be, where I am, an example of an endoric basin where you needed a glittering sword to carve it. I used to live here. I had a pass to go here, and I liked it because you could just look at it and just say, wow, that was a body part. And the water, this river wouldn't have made it to the sea. It wouldn't have helped anybody. So God carved this. And if you would ever see, the magnification of a giant sword, it's always let's see, a rough razor cut. Didn't know exactly how I would want to. Not a haircut. So even if it's a razor and you get like that's somebody that made it sharp enough to cut a hair, probably a free hanging hair. There's still going to be those jagged edges,
Sure.
That's what I'm thinking, not somebody that, when I was your age, the idea of a woman getting a tattoo on her neck would have been absolutely inconceivable. My thoughts on the Royal Gorge is that it provided an outflow because it was an endoric basin. And when the glittering sword cut it open, it's because when the flood happened, the Bible does, I don't recall it ever saying anywhere that they drowned. We know that the Elohim died like men. So that means they also got hit with the glittering sword and they turn to rock and are reserved in judgment. And so we got that going on. They're there. Some of them had to be that big. All the rocks are. So that's why, they look like they do. That's why there's quartz in them, of where is the Black Canyon? It's just straight down. Yeah, but like this one here, it has that marbling of, that
Yeah.
that either did or did not explode over 4 billion years. And you can see that the fine little point of the razor would have just been where the water goes, and God could there's a straight thing. There's a reason for every one of these, muscle tissue, tendons, whatever it is connecting it to. It's hard when I'm used to dealing with between 15-foot tall giants and regular size people frozen in judgment rocks. They look like us. They're our size. When they're this big, the scale is too much. It's too much, unless it's what they try to pass off as a tree, like Devil's Tower, when that really is one of the easy ones, that's just, muscles, cells of muscles that, because that's what
Yeah,
it
those
looks like.
columns are not. Trees don't do those columns. That's a little loud. Oops.
But the
That
people,
looks honestly like a piece of meat.
they do,
Oh,
because it is.
and
But
if you turn it like in a sepia color, where just helps the eye not to be so mesmerized. Black and white helps too, I guess, but sepia isn't the same.
so either the wind blows from the south, goes around to the north, and rides on the circuits of the wind. In Solomon's time, smartest man in the world said all the streams run to the sea, and yet it's not full. To the place the streams flow, there they flow again. No, they don't. They do not. Not
Right.
anymore, for a very, very specific reason, in Doric Basin. It is where it's just locked in, and it's on every continent now. So if people want the Bible to be true, it only works one way. And it can still force out some water. That's how come in the desert there are still oases. It's just not enough can seep out from whatever was the thing. But here they are, where the Navajo and the Paiutes and the Utes, who were tricked into believing that, they're here instead of here and here where they belong in Africa, because they took Jeremiah back to Egypt and people ran all over. And did Asia get hit? Oh my goodness, did it? This is all punishment for the where did the tribes scatter? Where did the ones that said we're going to run away from God and worship the Queen of Heaven and raise our, the Bible never says like father like son. It says like mother like daughter, when Ezekiel and Jeremiah are bemoaning the fact that women are raising their daughters to be whores and give it away, really, not even paid whores. So there's a quick lesson on endoric basins for myself.
That's
Once
a good lesson.
I want to remind everybody how good I feel right now, because I'm caught up on my work, my school work, of which, I just use school as a place to live and study and find out. I never have been around this environment in a long time. I've been to a lot of, to colleges before. But anyway, anything you want to add while I'm, before we get out of here?
No, just appreciate it. And
Hola, Rocky, popping in. You missed a
everything's good.
lot of technical issues earlier. No sound. You'll love it. Ladies and gentlemen, seriously, the whole truth as I know it is it's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past, because the mud flood was Armageddon. And I've had these visions since I was 21 years old. I've been God's little Paco, showing me the way, hedging me and correcting me when I'm wrong, convincing me that everything he said is true. It's how I stumbled upon the rocks crying out, and that they added 1,000 years to history. And now Satan's loose, and we're on a time schedule. It's the short season, and your orphan trained brain is racing, and it's that Hegelian dialectic. You've got to accept they lied about so much. It's a reset of history. You are or you are not. Wheat, sheep, adopted, elect, called, chosen, faithful. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else, because we do have your best interest at heart. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sanara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nagaman. Adios.